Thanks so much, everyone, for being here. Welcome to the Theater Council on Aging facility. We're so grateful for them to host us and allow us to be here. And I'm so grateful for all of your work to help us as a city be better. You are super volunteers in this community. The time and commitment that you give to each of these that you serve on, whether you've been on them for a while or you are new and about to be serving, really appreciate you. And make sure everyone can hear me. We're going to start with a couple of presentations, and then we're going to get into some small group discussion. Almost all of us are here, also our staff, and we're going to just facilitate the conversation. We're going to really have a quick debate or anything. We're going to clear something. We're collecting for people having thing. We're really excited to have you here. I'm going to hand it over to Kate to do a little bit more of what you said.
Good evening. Kate Schneider. I work in the City Manager's Office as the Executive Policy Officer, and we are thrilled to have you here tonight. I know you all were asked to put together your tobacco plans and priority suggestions for council heading into their goal setting this year. So we're going to start by asking each advisory body to share in about 2 minutes what they put together on those forms. We collected those in advance, and council already has a copy online. This was the chance for you all to hear from one another too. So we can just start in alphabetical order, which means the Affordable Housing Committee. Can you see? Asked to go at the end for reasons of
Just kidding, we'll go in reverse.
we'll go in reverse. How about T-Bot?
I'm Sean Perkins, chairman of our TBOC advisory board, being invited here. We prioritize how we want to spend the bond money on transportation. We've come across some issues with the inflationary pressures that we've seen, construction availability pressures that we've seen, and ask for council guidance. What is the council going to do? So many projects and funding. If we overrun, what is the funding? What is the guidance? What would council like our increase? That's one of our biggest priorities. The other one we've talked about is promote transparency through the capital project planning, construction durations, with early engagement, transparent communication, milestones, duration, talking about initial design, outreaches. We've done a lot to try to push getting out there earlier. We'd also like to speak with council and identify additional potential grant or states to reduce the cost of transportation construction. Any grants that having an overall, a lot of our roadway go into a certain stipulated level of service that we want. We call it the gold standard or the silver standard. But we need that bond water. All of our projects are coming across as over budget because we're asking for more. We're asking these dollars to stretch. We are asking the council to define which of our projects need that gold standard, which are going to be the east-west connections and then South Connect, and the level we're going to know to, and then also other we're going to bring those into what level. So that guidance as a community is really important, so that we can make sure we're spending our dollars.
I'm going to switch us to the hard part here. Can we have planning commission?
Scott Leonard, Vice Chair of the Planning Commission. One thing interesting about Bend, and maybe frustrating with some people, are constantly changing and improving our code. That's a lot of what the Planning Commission does. And we've changed a number of different codes this year, dealing with neighborhood commercial sites, modernizing development standards for housing, especially the missing middle housing, and not only and change your code, but sometimes the state of Oregon changes rules. So we've seen quite a few packages that we've been able to implement here in Bend through the Planning Commission. Also, tree preservation that went through the Planning Commission, and that was a big step because that was one of the big asks from the community. The last city council mission accomplished there a lot of the waterway overlay zones that Planning Commission oversees. One of the big ones was Bend Parks and Rec, their enhanced to access at Miller's Landing Park. I am Andy Dogma, chair of the Bend Landmarks Commission. The commission conducts quasi-judicial public hearings. Any property in the historic neighborhood zones, Old Bend and Drake Park, we have to review and approve any modifications to the exteriors of those facilities. It's a very small part of Bend. Some people would remember the illegal teardown of the crane shed and the very minimal fine that was paid and really misaligned incentives of preserving our historic. So we really try to bring with the council goals, bringing that into develop for the Bend Historic Code standards We're currently working on a no nonsense edit to the Ben historic code to present to city council. Things that would make staff's job easier, make the residents and owners of these properties' job easier, bring some clarity to it, while still achieving our goals of preserving the historic nature of Old Bend. We did make some really tough decision to allow the demolition of stones on the historic facade were cataloged and are being stored in a pile somewhere. So they could be reassembled. Again, there's a great example of the Depot building on Shelburne Hickson that was disassembled and then reassembled in its front spot. I'm really proud of that having happened years ago. We've reviewed and approved different housing modifications. People are buying properties that are very small, very non-livable for a family, and they're looking to add on to the back. We've been able to place some compliance with our codes. Our goals, in alignment with promoting a livable and walkable community. Center of Bend is used by a lot more people than the people that live there. Promoting improvement in pedestrian safety, trying to fill out our sidewalk network would be a great goal. We also want to be one of the climate friendly areas in accordance with state law with a lot of amenities, a 15-minute neighborhood and stuff like that. And then we would like the council to consider the code changes that bring more clarity to the process in some non-mandatory design standards that are additional references for developers, architects, and even homeowners who place their own application to put forward. That's all.
Thank you. Next, we have the Human Rights and Equity Commission, please.
Hello, my name is Agatha Vittori. I am the new chair of the Human Rights and Equity Commission. Thank you for introducing myself to you all for the first time. Happy to be here. The Human Rights and Equity Commission's primary goal is to advise the City Council on policies and practices that impact equity, human rights, and inclusion within the community. Our commission works to identify barriers to equity and recommend strategies for dismantling those barriers. We strive to create systemic change that benefits the entire community by centering the voices of those most impacted by equity. Some accomplishments from last year include assisting in the update of the stipend program, recommending changes to the camping code, community engagement events such as Pride and June, analysis of impediments to fair housing feedback and review, rewrote the work plan for our commission and elected new leadership. Some of our priorities for the upcoming year are executing our work plan, including facilitating learning and community spaces as we have been doing, as well as creating an equity lens to review live projects across city services. And we suggest using our commission and even other commissions to engage with communities that traditionally are left out of these conversations and processes. We recommend leading with centering data that centers residents as the information that we're using to make these changes. We are here for you. Give us a call.
Thank you. And we have Core Area Advisory Board next. Hey, everybody. I'm Corey Harlan. I am the chair of the Core Area Advisory Board. I am very honored to serve in that role with a really great, committed, passionate, knowledgeable group of folks. So if you can put your hands in the air if you're in CAB, we also have ex officio members. So our primary role, we advise the Bend Urban Renewal Agency. We are focused on the implementation of the Core Area Tax Increment Financing Plan, which sounds very boring and dry, but is actually a variety of projects and a funding source to really help the ongoing transformation of the Bend Central District and the core area into a vibrant, mixed-use, complete community that more and more people call home. It's a great role to be in. 3 key accomplishments from last year. We implemented $100,000 in small business assistance grant. So this is a program that's really aimed at preventing the gentrification and displacement that can often accompany urban renewal. We think it's a really important program for helping existing businesses, particularly women-owned and minority-owned businesses, remain in the district and grow and thrive. So there were 6 recipients this cycle, and we'll just list a few of them. Kalima Market, a Dogwood Cocktail Cabin is opening their new location at the Pine Shed tomorrow. They're having a grand opening, so make note on your calendar, 11 to 8, to go by and support them. It's a big milestone for the district. Growing Tree Children's Center, vital child care that's happening in the district for our neighbors and businesses. We assisted in the creation of the tax increment assistance for housing affordability and employment growth policy. We call that the Tiny TIF. And this is really dialing in a new innovative development incentive
that's really meant to hone in on supporting more affordable housing projects and high wage developments within TIF or urban renewal areas throughout our cities. That is in effect, and we're excited to help stand that program up and launch it this year, and really hope that leads to more of the development we want to see in the area. Our third accomplishment we wanted to share, we initiated the Second Street Modernization and Improvement Project, which invests about $4.3 million in the street revitalization. It's meant to include improved safety for all users, accessibility, streetscape improvements, lighting improvements. These are critical public investments that we know are going to change the look and feel of and really help leverage that private investment that we need to see in the district as we continue this transformation into a vibrant place. For our priorities and goal setting, so we've got two sets. One is for BRED, which is the Bend Urban Renewal Agency, which is the same configuration as the city council, but with a different charge and charter. We'd like to see a prioritization of assisting with the drafting and implementing of the urban renewal investment strategy. That's going to be a key focus point for CAB in the year ahead. We're really excited about it. And then to consider joint meetings with overlapping boards to identify shared goals throughout the core area, because I think a lot of that work touches and impacts a lot of the work of other boards, great work that other board members are doing. So that's for borough. And then for city council, we'd really like to urge you to continue to prioritize spurring development and unlocking infill development opportunities in the core area. We'd love to see continued progress and momentum on the Midtown Crossing projects, keeping those on budget and on time. They're really important for our community. And then to focus on a greater sense of safety in the Bend Central District. And we think that really includes providing continued leadership and clarity on the plan for key uses and parcels in the district, including City Hall, a future park and plaza, and other city-owned properties.
Right, thanks, Corey. And next we have the Accessibility Advisory Committee. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Liz White-Bennett. I'm the newly appointed chair of City of Bend Accessibility and Advisory Committee. I'm very honored to be here and share some of the accomplishments we've made in 2024 and some goals for the City of Bend for 2025-2027. The City of Bend Accessibility Advisory Committee's purpose is to assist and advise the city on the most efficient and responsible means to make its programs, services, activities, and facilities accessible to all of Bend's residents and visitors. We have a very collegiate group of people who have amazing ideas and lively conversation during our meetings. Some of the accomplishments we have done are disability advocacy awareness and building events. COBAC hosted a 2024 walk and roll event, bringing city staff, city councilor, BPRD, commute options, and community stakeholders together to discuss infrastructure and accessibility. The event served as an opportunity to view transportation and mobility on city road, streets, and sidewalks from an accessibility lens. The event included discussions on how to report burial removal requests, creating a BendWorks account in submitting new requests, and creating awareness around impact of our infrastructure and members of our community who have a disability. The Leadership Bend Accessibility Project was another accomplishment that we had. COBAC, in conjunction with Accessibility Department, worked with Leadership Bend's 2024 cohort and accessibility initiatives that created evergreen resource for local businesses related to accessibility, both in-store and virtually, on the City of Bend website. Our third accomplishment was connection to community. COBAC continued to develop positive rapport and raise awareness within the community. COBAC serves as a safe space for community members to express access concerns and is an important venue for raising awareness while contemplating creative solutions and collaboration between COBAC members and the Accessibility and Equity Department. Some of the goals that we would to put forward are accessibility at the onset. Ensure accessibility is considered at the core of all developed policy goals and included in the planning phases of all projects and initiatives. Join us. We'd love to have you come to a COBAC meeting. We extend that open invitation to all city councilors, community members to attend COBAC meetings to witness the committee in action and to review their upcoming 2025 work plan. We have lots of other sub goals that we are continuing to work on. COBAC has developed our slate of goals that we are hoping to accomplish for 2025. So that's still a process, and we'd love to have you
join us in that work, and it's a very exciting time for us. So thank you. All right. Sorry, I skipped you.
Hi, everybody.
My name is Neil Bonsgard. I'm the outgoing chair of the ECC, the Environment and Climate Committee. Our new chair, Mark Buckley, is also here. I've been really impressed with everybody doing a really good job of spelling them out. So I'll try to maintain that as well. The Environment and Climate Committee is a newer committee at the city. Although we started in 2020, it was coming off the heels of Ben's first climate action plan. That was built off city council's commitment to reduce our community greenhouse gas emissions by 40% by 2030. So it was kind of all nestled together. And one of its main roles is working in the climate action planning process. In this last year, one of the things that we worked a lot on was reviewing the policy options and developing some recommendations for council around the electrification of homes and buildings. And a continuing process, I heard some conversation about collaborating with other committees, and that was a council request. That proposal will be working with BDAB and AHAC in a super committee structure. Looking forward to that collaboration to build that kind of advisory role of all of these committees in a more combined manner for the electrification effort. We also work to update that climate action plan because it's been 5 years, and that's part of the commitment there. Identifying some new actions and just updating the policy context that we're in now to help better advise our work and staff work. Another big success was successfully advocating for and securing some additional staff support for implementing CCAP programs. Thanks, Megan. In terms of looking forward for this next year, a lot of that work leads on those 3 main accomplishments last year. That includes developing an outreach and education program and launching an energy navigator program to help residents and businesses identify opportunities around energy efficiency, renewable energy, and electrification. Developing those electrification policies that have been asked for by council, moving forward the projects that we already had planned, promoting or installing public EV charging stations, promoting waste prevention and reuse, encouraging vehicle miles traveled, VMT reduction. It's been positive to see over the years that I've been on the ECC, dovetails and parallels a lot of the work that other boards, advisory boards, and staff members are doing. So we're trying to find the best ways to align those. And I like the idea of attending other committee meeting, and then identifying and securing some sustainable funding for the actual implementation of this work. Really recognizing we've been doing the work, we've been doing the planning, and we want to make sure that those projects are actually getting on the ground. So
Thanks, Neil. And we are B in the alphabet to the Bend Economic Development Advisory Board, or BDAB, if we're doing it. The chair for the Bend Economic Development Advisory Board. So we give policy advice related to business development, economic growth, and the city of Bend. In the past year, we talked a lot about using it just your sorry. Yeah, lots of views. But really what we were doing is, so we focus on system development charging, the update to the transportation fee, and really hope to try and balance that fee over the course of time, spreading it out a little bit more to make it less impactful on businesses. Worked with the community development director on reporting accountability for rate increases in building, planning, and engineering, as well as permit turnaround time. So all the things that we hear about in the development world often. And then began working on the target sector analysis to inform future economic development planning. Going forward, what we want to do is really continue to look at establishing a comprehensive economic development strategy and action plan through the lens of economic development. So how does it affect the workforce? How does the decision affect the cost of doing business in Bend? Then how does it allow the city of Bend to function and operate effectively? Provide feedback to the Bend Urban Renewal Agency on how to improve or expand the specific TIP programs and employment growth. So I heard that. So also working with other committees would be great. And then determining the city's investment strategies related to small businesses, support programs, and position Bend as a leader in the state for entrepreneurial growth. Right before I got here, there was an email that Bend's in the top 5. I'm Rachel, the manager, and we have a fairly new body and the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee. And the only folks that can make it here tonight to represent the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee are so new that they asked, can you do it? Here I am. We started a goals discussion in October, but some committee members had to leave and we weren't able to finish that discussion in November because we didn't have a quorum. So this is my reminder to all of you how important it is to attend the meetings so that there's quorum and the meetings can be held. And that's why I'm here in front of you. I did schedule time with all of our AHAC members to discuss their council goals and go through what they would like to see and discuss our accomplishments. The role of the board is to advise city council and city staff on housing matters. They evaluate proposals for community development block grant funding and all the other available resources that promote housing development. And they respond to council when requested to consider proposed policy. Some of the board's accomplishments this year included that they evaluated proposals for housing and community development resources and made those funding recommendations to council. And for those of you that are familiar, like the primary funding resources are our Affordable Housing Fund and our Community Development Block Grant funding. However, over the last couple of years, there have been a lot more funding resources. We've had ARPA dollars for our temporary safe stay area. And in addition, there have been more dollars from the CARES Act that have been distributed through the Affordable for distribution during the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee. Surplus properties have also come before the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee, and they've made recommendations to council. They reviewed recommendations for the Bend Parks and Recreation District to waive system development charges. And that resulted in the development of a dwelling unit. And they supported proposed council actions impacting housing, such as the system development charge methodology, and then urban renewal agency tax increment financing assistance policy. Suggestions for council: revisit property tax exemptions with special districts for middle income and accessory dwelling unit rental housing. The committee is offering input for surplusing Juniper Ridge properties for affordable housing development and offering their input to encourage supportive funding proposals for ownership down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. They recommend for council to consider a funding exploration work group for housing production targets, developing sustainable funding strategies for city-owned low barrier shelters with related services, and unlocking infill for small development after assessing the potential production benefit, such as sidewalk connectivity and right-of-way easements for vacation, and to continue enacting policies for greater middle income housing development, such as FCC extended deferrals and or property tax exemptions. And that's all. Thank you, Rachel, and thank you everyone for taking the time to put together your accomplishments and share your suggestions for council to consider. It really speaks to the power of committed volunteers to make a difference in their communities. Thank you. And then Russ, our Chief Operations Officer and Assistant to the Editor, is going to give us a little preview, look ahead to the next biennium.
You're a vital part of the city. We appreciate your service, the input and guidance you give us as we try to go through several initiatives of very fast growing down. So again, I'm Chris Grace. I'm the Chief Operations Officer. This was just on my job and talented group of people to figure out how to design, build, plan, operate, and maintain this the city and grade to about 145,000, 150,000 people in the next 20 years. The majority of people in this room are involved in that process to help us figure out a pathway to do that. What I'm going to try to do in a quick overview in 10 minutes is define what we're trying to do in all these different areas over the next 10 years. There will not be a quiz on this. We're going to pull the curtain back a little bit and give you context when staff is working on in relationship to council goals. So next slide. In the process, we are currently about ready to kick off the meat of the council goals and budget process. We're about ready to have a council goal offsite and retreat with them, and then continue to develop those goals. Then I have it in February. We're trying to accept a lot of input now from different sources to bring to that goal setting retreat through March and April. We refine those with council and set those in line with the budget, and all that will be done hopefully by May and June. The main areas, infrastructure, housing and houselessness, environment and climate, really starting to talk more about economic development goals around that. Great strategies and development, and then accessible and effective state governments. And then go through each one of these with the highlights. On the infrastructure, we just have a lot of construction to do over the next couple of years. Here, right in the heart of the General Obligation Bond, you're going to see a lot of construction over the next several years. We're in the design phase of the High Point Bridge. We received the grants for that, which is really exciting. 2nd Street in the core areas are in construction, and then you're going to start to see construction on Wells Market and Wells Edgers. Franklin, Bear Creek, Green Market, Messi, I think on and what all the different construction and bikeways is going to go. We're going to implement discussions right now on stage 2, the transportation fee, to take that from $1 million of revenue to $10 million of revenue. Also start to formulate the programs, the multimodal programs associated with that, and also deliver a high level of service. On the water side, we're really focused on we have opportunities and in our system in town and on the outback facility. We're also looking at the water filtration plant down by the Trailhead, and we're looking at a big expansion property purchase out there to expand that and provide additional resiliency to fire. We're building a big lift station in the southeast area of town to provide additional sewer capacity. And again, we're all embedded in our traffic control tower out at the airport right now, which is really exciting. If you look at our CFPs, I think we're seeing here between $400 and $500 million over the next 5 years. Another reference point I always use is between the recession and COVID, they invested in $1 billion in infrastructure, public related funds. On the housing front, you've heard about the site-specific tax and grant financing. That or the 10 TIF is the inside reference on that. That is actually in the first phase right now, or something that actually something out. Implications on that. There's been discussions about exploring potential funding sources when a housing crisis. How do we fund that, especially in the lower area median income families? We are very excited to receive both HUD and DEQ grants, which provide additional funding for housing programs. We also want to celebrate the announcement that came out last week for the $32 million we received from the federal government for Lead Market, which is fantastic. It helps with a lot of the cost overruns that we've been seeing. That was a big one to the state. Back on housing, we're going to continue to look at surplusing to property, and we're going to continue to look at how we unlock infill redevelopment and middle housing development. Our focus around housing is let's get things constructed in the field. We've done a lot of policy work, taking state and local level. We really want to focus to let's get things built and start to put units on the ground. And we're going to do that through the looking at infrastructure standards, ADU programs, 10 tune-ups, those are all continue, but it's really about how do we move housing forward into real construction and real units on the ground. On the houselessness front, we've done a lot of work is a lot of people again inside the city. So we've done really good programs established on both dealing with camping, but also providing services. And then we're going to the regional effort as those pressures have moved outside the city. I see think of Juniper Ridge and we're involved with conversations around what to do with that. And we want to continue to pursue sustainable funding for those shelter operations in the long term. Because still don't through our funds. We want to make sure there's sustainable financing that. And then one of the keys to houselessness is to get more housing on the ground. So there are different opportunities for people to move into real housing. You're going to see housing in various levels in the different goal areas right now. Next one. On the environment and climate, you've done a lot of this in the report act. The focus is further update to that need on the action plan. Continue to explore on the electrification policies. There's also a lot of water conservation conversations in terms of what's the next level of conservation efforts we want to do in the city. Maybe also looking at our utility rate model and a conservation-based structure. Support the in-town hydroelectricity opportunities. We're doing a big public works campus out in Juniper Ridge. We're also trying to electrify our fleet where it makes sense. We're trying to lead by example. It's fine. Economic development. This has been a major focus that we see through a lot of conversations that we have. The things we're looking at is one that's implemented like specific tips. So we're going to see there is an economic development strategy. We also want to complete a community assessment and analysis to figure out what our economic development strategy is and what is the relationship with our partners in town and an action around that. Making sure we apply the equity framework to these strategies. Right in the middle of the targeting sector analysis in the right-hand corner, trying to figure out what different industries should we target? What do we mean by economic development? What industries do we want to focus on? And what are the strategies around that? And then also, we're looking at housing as an economic development issue. Because if you talk to employers, one of the first things that we're hearing across the board, and I'm sure the organizations you work in affects the city is, we can't hire, we get amazing candidates, but they do not figure out a way to make sure to afford the housing. So we view that as an economic development issue as well that should be looked at. Next one. And then the big growth plan. This is structured involving development. One is and to convert all the opportunities that are available to us now. So if we have a developer that wants to build a project in the right place, meets our code, provides more housing and more economic development opportunities, how do we continue to get them through faster and give them the information they need to make business decisions all around town? And that means looking at Southeast area, the core development core area, Juniper Ridge, one-time UGB expansion that just went through and the site selection process, everything to do to get middle and affordable housing out the door. every time there's a job creation opportunity that then meets the goals of the city, we want to help the developers get that underground on the long-term plan. We are looking at what the next 20 years look like. We're going the 20-year growth plan right now. And over the next 2 years, getting that foundational work of looking at what are our targeted sectors for economic development, housing needs, what are our land, and doing our land inventories around that, so we can actually start to have those more robust community conversations in the next couple of years. And after that, we're having the conversations with the community of how we grow, where we grow. As you get involved in this very large public engagement process, that also includes updates to our transportation system plan, as well as our infrastructure master plans. We also have a whole new set of rulemaking that came down from the state around climate friendly and equitable communities that we need to integrate not only into our great plan, but also to comply with the state law. Next slide. Last, accessible and effective governance. One of the reasons we're all here right now is we wanted to get a preview of what we're thinking of doing. How do we work with you? How do we work with all these committees? Because you are helping the council and the policymakers make those decisions, give direction, give guidance, give recommendations. So that's really what this is about. How do we all work together to come up with the best solutions to the opportunities that this community faces? We always say, we're very fortunate community. We have good problems to solve. They're difficult. But we are in a good position and fortunate to be where we are. We're going to continue to look at training permanent processes. We've come a long way in the last year. We have another round to go. Looking at hiring a new city engineer, looking at a development navigator position. What I've been saying is we've been very fortunate. There have been a lot of tailwinds that have helped us move development and growth. We're now facing some headwinds with not only the economy, but the cost of housing and things like that. Well, we need to refocus our strategies and how we interact with the development community, which is they are partners in growing the city. We're building a new public works campus out in Jacob Ridge that's going to really improve how we operate. So that's a huge facility investment the city's doing. We're exploring what we're going to do as our council chambers. Are we using implementation or new one actually? Trying to figure out what we want to do around a new city hall and getting that in central building. We feel like if we can figure out a way to get city hall in there, that is a catalyst to really get that area moving. We're always working on better ways to unit and engage with it. Right now, any questions around any of this? I think hopefully there's some familiarity with what we do, but one of the things that I really want you to think about as we get to these conversations is that's pretty broad. There's a lot of things going on within City Hall, a lot of communications to the community, a lot of engagement. I apologize, and I've probably been in front of most of you with some topic one day or another, but we are here to help serve, help you provide you with the information to make policy decisions. And so that's what this is about. I think it's a great idea to get all the different committees in a ring to figure out how we as staff and policymakers can help interact with you, give you the information that you need to provide the best recommendations you can to council and deliver the programs that have been assigned to your needs.
Okay, we're going to transition now to dinner. We have it set up down this hallway at the end on the left, and we're going to dismiss by table. We'll let you know when your table is. In the meantime, this is a working dinner. So if you could just dive into the discussion questions on the table in front of you. Every table should have a facilitator, and in the center console there should be a facilitator sheet and a note taker sheet with your right. Note that we will all be coming back at about 6 o'clock to share.
No, wow, you're good.
All right. It's a lot of
Not very long. I had to
so what's your job like?
I understand that is great. All nice to play.
I guess I would. You say you know all of the time. Be very intentional on perfection.
It doesn't play around.
We're feeling that one, right? Yeah, what I feel like science. I know the thing. Players straight.
We're proud to be
Yes.
Have it.
Sorry,
Everything you're thinking.
I can shoot out.
You are probably gonna have a darling
Yeah, I think you're all different. I think I know Sharon. Person is the way that
Also, you could suggest, you know, we should concentrate on
but
she's
still,
different than a lot of times. So yes,
no one else comes to me.
How much she
Yeah.
That's a report on all that. Yeah, there's six.
The
Number two, nice to hear from them. And the other members of the real. They do it now. Yeah. I would like the beginning of. For sure. Like when the first show go. I last like we I don't think they I've never watched it. I watched it and there's a laptop. He's like, right. You can play, but he was like, but like, only breath. And it's like, I let her. Didn't have to love his wife. She did. Although I just it was just like everybody. So, I was just like everyone, and then it wasn't cool. But listen, like good and like yeah. Well, in the room, and you can and then one back that's already out.
I just down as like from what I said, I know that West in the absence of other than wrong with
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's the other way around.
Yeah. That's what I want.
There was a legal service rarely that they made that issue.
But
Yeah.
All right, and it falls back in. First point of order, we have a lot of women. Anyone need a refill? Session 3. And then you found out it's one of the previously agreed to crime for us. Company the other chief innovation officer.
what's working though, council's expectations are like not being clear on how their expertise can best be used in getting feedback and information to council. Please feel free to say if your item is already at that table 8.
I'm John the Taylor, staff liaison to CAT. We'll start with Delta. One thing, the council liaisons pass through both committees. So that would be the chain communication. Staff will listen to committees. Yes.
Okay, we said what's going well is a feeling that format new is working very well for us. So more of this, what we're doing with the opportunity to collaborate, and then what can be fixed. Collaboration between boards has been mentioned, and then also improve clarity on the process for getting new ideas from committees to the council, like how they elevate those things for consideration.
What is working well? The summit, and what needs to be improved was the lack of orientation, considering the needs of residents.
Table 5. I think we're going to plus one some of the things that have already been said around having really clear desired outcomes and direction about what does council actually want from us? What question are we trying to answer for them? Plus one on that one. Something that we talked about, one of the other questions on the sheet was the idea of the through line. And so when you have a policy, a project, an idea, that through line is connecting all the way down to sufficient financial resources to implement those things, but it don't just become plan low chunks of great idea. That through line was clearly articulated, and committees and boards understand the parameters they're playing within. So you can create a fantastic plan, but you want to see it actually come to fruition. A bit more of the through line might help all of our work. We like our council liaison. Thank you for coming. Some things that we would like to stop doing. We get great and detailed presentations from staff and our advisory boards. We would like to maybe push some of that work into pre-work, such that advisory board and commission meetings become more conversational and this presentation started or adding more input from counselors. We talked about collaboration between advisory bodies and trying to avoid duplicative staff presentations. If they're the same presentation at 5 different commission meetings, so they do time and record it. We could all watch it, or can we all come together and watch it together on Zoom? There are things that we think can make sounds like easier and our commission. What was going well was that just the staff support and engaged liaisons are appreciated by the committee members. We talked about some ideas on the theme of information from council. Not that counselors and liaisons should tell the committee what to do, but that there be a standing update quarterly from the council liaison to the committee. Instead of having the committee members come to our meeting on a quarterly basis, a lot of talking about wanting to have more informal discussion type of meetings instead of formal meetings where you come and speak for a couple of minutes and there's not really any back and forth. That was one of the big ideas for something new to do.
Okay, we have 5 more minutes. So I think we have time to one, Gemini Dito, and collaborate. Gemini Dito, each table 2. Let's just go right and shoot. Or do you ask you to say both? Okay, you need a minute. Okay,
We'll start with table 9. Collaboration idea between boards is have a regular the different board leadership earlier, so that ideas like this table is still working. Table 8. I think one example of an idea for how to engage advisory bodies is to making sure they have to engage broadly, specifically the transportation group. Committees often get staff presentations about the same projects, but that feedback provided by those individual committees isn't reported to the other committees. So bringing that information into those meetings.
Let's do the same thing as Kathy.
two-way communication. We call them information trails. And then for opportunities for collaboration, I think there just needs to be some proactive communication.
We survey regularly schedule meetings with the staff, the council liaison, and the vice chair and chair of that committee were really uploading it quarterly. And then the other one was making sure that on any given project, it aligns over a lot of the different boards, constantly linking the goals back on specific projects, so understanding how does this accomplish this specific goal.
It's about examples of engagement and in collaboration in large things like the growth plan or transportation system plan. So maybe figuring out where the different sensory bodies can plug into the process and bringing them along with an entire long multi-relational process.
Thing about the Meet City initiatives just early and often. And then the collaboration very similarly. Do we physically get together sometimes as a faster way to share it?
We also had support for the idea of super committees for people who work on a discrete project from different advisory boards. We noted we have planning commission members and sometimes their meetings get canceled, sometimes a few in a row. If they don't have that kind of work coming up, because it's an opportunity to invite people from other boards to work on something or to give them an update or think on some problems that they're both encountering that go across all the boards. So just trying to get more of that cross-pollination happening.
Yeah, we were talking about very similar things in a lot of the other tables that talked about more direct feedback from the council liaisons is one of them. And then just more support for having specific initiatives, have multiple committees on it, or at least have a specific person from a committee being able to be present in those decisions.
Thank you. It's definitely take notes and we'll have the notes from the tables that we can compile and share. With that, I'll turn it over to Mary Kate.
Thanks everyone for being here to close this out. I took a picture with my phone. John was calling it the brain trust. You guys are our experts and you're so engaged. You want to be here and help me find a better place. And we go through the bureaucracy and the process and all of this. But everything I heard today was just really about that connection and that information sharing. And we always want to know how we can do better at that and how we can leverage your brains to help us use our brains to make the best policy decisions. Just really grateful you all spent some time with us tonight. And I was like, yeah, we're going to do this again. Let's do this again for the next goal setting. This is great. It's just great to be in the room with each other and connect and get that cross-pollination that way. Just wanted to say thank you to everybody. We're going to adjourn. And thank you again so much for all your work for the city. Thanks, everybody.
Should we take a quick picture? Yeah, let's take a picture. Or anybody with more clever details.
You're right.
All right, one more note. We have to go. So please take some of the taco bar home.